What up and welcome to Rama Screen YouTube channel, and here's my review of Netflix new miniseries, A Man in Full. Let's rock this. Look, I get that this show is supposed to be a satire, but this is quite possibly the messiest, most disjointed, scatterbrained satire I've ever seen. It even leads up to a ridiculous, pointless, clusterfuck ending, which is disappointing because I usually like the shows that David E. Kelley gives us over the years, but this one, it's as if he just throws every storytelling structure out the window. Which begs the question that perhaps the book that this show is based on is also this bad. I mean, there are multiple stories going on here, and the connecting thread often lacks reason. There's the corporate war, the wrongfully imprisoned guy, and then there's the sex scandal. It's like they would start another sentence midway without finishing the previous sentence. It feels like I'm watching three separate shows. Each of them deserves to be a standalone, and yet many of them are sadly underdeveloped. And instead of being their own separate shows, they are jumbled up together in A Man in Full that only ends up in us asking the question, what the hell did I just watch? I mean, it's one thing if maybe they're saving it for season 2, but this is a mini-series, so there is no season 2, which makes this all the more aggravating. Written, showrun, and produced by David E. Kelley and directed by Regina King, in A Man in Full, when Atlanta real estate mogul Charlie Croker faces sudden bankruptcy, political and business interests collide as Charlie defends his empire from those attempting to capitalize on his fall from grace. A Man in Full is based on the New York Times best-selling novel by the late Tom Wolfe, starring Jeff Daniels, Tom Pelphrey, Diane Lane, Lucy Liu, William Jackson Harper, Amil Amin, Sarah Jones, John Michael Hill, and Shantae Adams. Hey, please click the join button below to become Rama Screen members. By doing so, you will help support this channel and you'll also get lots of perks. So click on the link below to join Rama Screen membership today. The only storyline that sort of feels kind of complete, is the wrongfully jailed guy with his lawyer questioning whether his job is to defend corporate guys like Croker or to defend the regular average Americans. But even that storyline still ultimately comes across as mid, compensated only by the great courtroom speeches reminiscent of David E. Kelley's other legal shows of the past. As for the battle between Croker and Peepgrass, as mildly amusing as some of their back and forth bickering can get, it feels like two spoiled boys in the sandbox quarreling. And if that doesn't annoy you, its anticlimactic conclusion with a poor excuse for a shock value will make you want to pull your hair out. The sex scandal pisses me off the most because that storyline never actually goes anywhere. And it's a complete waste of Lucy Liu's talent. She shows up and barely makes a dent. The same goes for Diane Lane, who has been reduced to the role of a disgruntled ex-wife. Diane deserves better than her one-dimensional character. Time and time again, within these 7 episodes, A Man in Full has several opportunities to put this cast ensemble to good use. But time and time again, it keeps purposely shooting itself in the foot. And that's frustrating. Jeff Daniels is also among this show's many weakest links. He is like a walking caricature. And what is up with that awful accent? Even Forrest Gump doesn't sound that exaggerated. And the problem with the way that his character Charlie Croker was written is that it doesn't really give us the full picture. By that I mean, okay, so he's supposed to be hell-bent on vengeance, right? Against the banks and against Peepgrass. But the next minute, he'll have a soft spot for his secretary's plight. Whereas most other powerful people in his position would look down on or quickly dismiss such cases instead of fighting for her. What I'm getting at is, if only there was an episode that's entirely dedicated to his backstory in order to shed light on why that is or why he gives a damn. Unfortunately, the show doesn't give us that. So the effort of turning him into a likable asshole is very half-assed and rushed and unwarranted. So yeah, overall I give A Man in Full the rating of 1.5 out of 5. One of the worst new shows I've seen all year. And to double down on what I said earlier, this show is absolutely pointless. I get nothing out of sitting through these episodes. And if their objective is to point out how unhappy rich people are, well, this is a crappy way of going about it.